That's what's going on. Let's move on to some climate change news. This is from Greta Thunberg. September 2020 was the warmest September ever recorded. And I'll read that again. September 2020 was the warmest September ever recorded, both globally and in Europe. The second warmest September was 2019. You see a trend there? Do you see a trend? The average temperature for the 12 months from September 2019 to September 2020 is nearly 1.3 C above pre-industrial levels. Oh, 1.3 C, you say. Oh, we're supposed to be avoiding 1.5 C, you say. Oh, we're only at 1 degree Celsius globally, you say. But the average temperature for the 12 months from September 2019 to September 2020 is nearly 1.3 C above pre-industrial levels. And this, she goes on to say, and this with a cooling La Nina. There you go. And then this dumbass. It was pretty darn cold in Canada. Check your facts. I'm stupid. Whatever. But you know. Well, Rich Diana says, come on, Greta, what's your starting point for industrial civilization? I mean, what is her starting point? That's good to, would be good to know, 1880, 1750, whatever it is. But I mean, the fact that she's stating if they're using, you know, whatever the widely accepted baseline of 1880, I mean, 1.3 C is still rather warm, right? It's a lot warmer than 1 or 0.94 or whatever it is they want to call it. 1.3 C is awful close to 1.5, which we were supposed to avoid before 2070 or 50 or 2100. I don't know. What was the date we were supposed to avoid that by? It's 2020. It's right. That. G. Demmer says, I'm in Canada. It was nice and warm here. Right. Whatever. Just, you know. Rich Diana says it's more than 1.3 C. And yes, many people feel like it is. Susan Forisepi says, Texas is always hot. Right. TCR Galaxy says 1979 to 2000 as a baseline. So only going back a few years or a few decades. The Arctic is at plus 4 C today, right? So many places on the planet are much hotter than that, above very near-term baselines, right? Not even going back to the 1800s. Jacob Gordon says she's using the 2000 baseline. Is that true? I don't know. I don't know that she's using that baseline. Anyways, let's move on. Yeah. Let's move on to this story that we talked a little bit about yesterday. This is from the Gray Zone. Planet of the Humans censored. So this is this is pretty bombshell story from exactly a month ago. But again, even this story, even this bombshell story is getting very, very little play in the news. Very little play, even in alternative news. I've only seen this story on Jimmy Dore and maybe Graham Elwood. And beyond that, I haven't seen it. If you guys have seen it elsewhere, please let me know. But this fairly bombshell story only getting, minimal play. And even this channel, Black Bear News, a climate change channel, I haven't talked about this until now. So my bad, guys, we've talked about everything we can talk about around this movie so far. But this particular story, no, I have not covered this. This is from the Gray Zone. Green billionaires behind professional activist network that led suppression of Planet of the Humans documentary. Whoa, are you saying that very rich people are behind suppressing the truth of a documentary that questions what we're doing around green energy and what we're doing, basically as industrial civilization in the year 2020? Golly, tell me more. The Michael Moore-produced Planet of the Humans faced a coordinated suppression campaign led by professional climate activists backed by the same green billionaires, Wall Street investors, industry insiders, and family foundations skewered in the film. Must have got under their collars a little bit there. Or under their skins. I don't know what analogy I was trying to put out there. They got hot under the collar, something like that. We must take control of our environmental movement and our future from billionaires and their permanent war on planet Earth. They are not our friends. That is a quote from Jeff Gibbs. It is hard to think of an American film that provoked a greater backlash in 2020 than Planet of the Humans. Focused on the theme of planetary extinction and fanciful proposals to ward it off, the documentary was released for free on YouTube on April 21. The date was significant not only because it was the eve of the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, but because a global pandemic was tearing through America's social fabric and exposing the human toll of the country's globalized, growth-obsessed economic model. Even before Planet of the Humans was released, however, the producers of the film had fallen under pressure to retract it. Upon the film's release, a who's who of self-styled climate justice activists proceeded to blanket the internet with accusations that it was a racist, eco-fascist screed that deliberately advanced the interests of the oil and gas industry. Eugenicist. When Planet of the Humans was briefly ganked from YouTube thanks to a questionable copyright claim by an angry climate warrior, the free speech organization PEN America issued a remarkable statement characterizing the demands for retraction as a coordinated censorship campaign. What had this documentary done to inflame so much opposition from the faces and voices of professional climate justice activism? First, it probed the well-established shortcomings of renewable energy sources like solar and wind power that have been marketed as a green panacea. Planet of the Humans portrayed these technologies as anything but green, surveying the environmental damage already caused by solar and wind farms, which require heavy mining and smelting to produce, destroy swaths of pristine land, and sometimes demand natural gas to operate. Oh yes, we need these transition fuels, guys. While major environmental outfits have lobbied for a Green New Deal to fuel a renewables-based industrial revolution and are now banking on a Democratic presidency to enact their proposals, Planet of the Humans put forward a radical critique that called the entire agenda into question. Right. Because, oh my God, those right-wing fascists and their fossil fuels. But you can't call out the Democratic fascists and their, green renewable plans for maybe their own version of fascism. As the director of the documentary, Jeff Gibbs, explained, when we focus on climate change only as the thing destroying the planet, and we demand solutions, we get used by forces of capitalism who want to continue to sell us the disastrous illusion that we can mine and smelt and industrialize our way out of this extinction event. Oh, yes. And all those well-meaning left-wingers, all those well-meaning, Democrats are going to, if you're a radical climate activist or maybe even further to the left than the Democrats, they're going to call you eco-fascist and racist and Eugenicist. You're going to be one of the eugenicist eagles. I'm here with the eugenicist eagles. Woo, that's funny. Anyways, I think so. And again, behind the scenes, much of what we're doing to save, quote unquote, the planet is to burn the bio of the planet as green energy. Planet of the Humans crossed another bright green line by taking aim at the self-proclaimed climate justice activists themselves, painting them as opportunists who had been willingly co-opted by predatory capitalists. Golly gee, tell me more. The filmmakers highlighted the role of family foundations like the Rockefeller Brothers Fund in cultivating a class of professional activists that tend towards greenwashing partnerships with Wall Street and the Democratic Party, to coalitions with anti-capitalist militants and anti-war groups. Bill McKibben, the founder of 350.org and guru of climate justice activism, is seen throughout Planet of the Humans consorting with Wall Street executives and pushing fossil fuel divestment campaigns that enable powerful institutions to reshuffle their assets into plastics and mining while burnishing their image. McKibben has even called for environmentalists to cooperate with the Pentagon, one of the world's worst polluters and greatest exporters of violence, because when it speaks frankly, it has the potential to reach Americans who won't listen to scientists. Perhaps the most provocative critique contained in Planet of the Humans was the portrayal of full-time climate warriors like McKibben as de facto lobbyists for green tech billionaires and Wall Street investors determined to get their hands on the whopping $50 trillion profit opportunity that a full transition to renewable technology represents. $50 trillion is a lot of dollars. Why have figures like Google CEO Eric Schmidt, Michael Bloomberg, Virgin's Richard Branson, and Tesla founder Elon Musk been plowing their fortunes into climate advocacy? The documentary taunted those who accepted these oligarchs' gestures of environmental concern at face value. Elon Musk will coup whoever we want, right, to get lithium for batteries, because there's a lot of profit involved. So it doesn't, we'll just switch from doing coups in other countries because we need oil to doing coups in other countries because we need lithium. Right? The documentary taunted those who accepted these oligarchs' gestures of environmental concern at face value. For years, leftist criticism of professional climate activism has been largely relegated to blogs like Wrong Kind of Green, which maintains an invaluable archive of critical work on the co-optation of major environmental organizations by the billionaire class. Again, I've done previous critiques of Wrong Kind of Green. There are also problems going on there too. Prominent Greens might have been able to dismiss scrutiny from radical corners of the internet as background noise. However, they were unable to ignore Planet of the Humans. That was because Oscar-winning documentarian Michael Moore put his name on the film as executive producer alongside his longtime producer Gibbs and the scholar-researcher Ozzie Zenner. Michael Moore validates this film. Josh Fox, the filmmaker who led the campaign against Planet of the Humans, told me. So if Michael Moore's name is not on that film, it's like 1,000 other crappy movies. By racking up millions of views after just a month on YouTube, I don't know what other crappy movies actually expose this kind of stuff. What is he talking about? There aren't 1,000 other movies just like this. In fact, there are no other movies like this. There are very few movies like this who are willing to go out and expose greenwashing or the green renewable industry for what it is, right? I can't think of one. I'm sure there might be a few out there, a handful, maybe as many as you can count on one hand. But why is he saying 1,000 other crappy movies? Whatever. Anyways, Josh Fox, full of manure. By racking up millions of views after just a month on YouTube, Planet of the Humans threatened to provoke an unprecedented debate about the corruption of environmental politics by the 1%. But thanks to the campaign by Fox and his allies, much of the debate wound up focused on the film itself and the credibility of its producers. I had some sense that the film was going to ruffle some feathers, but I was unprepared for that response from what ended up being a group of people who are like an echo chamber, all related to the same funding organization, said Zenner. It's a pretty tight circle, and it was really strong, a really strong, virulent pushback. The line of attack that may have gained the most traction in progressive circles portrayed a convoluted section of the film on the dangers of population growth and overconsumption as Malthusian and even racist. It's so funny because no one ever questions, the technological progress that we engage in. Like, nobody ever questions scientists and tech guys for just going, forward. We need, 5G and electric cars and electric trucks and all this stuff, right? Nobody ever questions those things. But if you are labeled a Malthusian or a Luddite, oh my God, you're just so bad. You're just so dumb. For wanting to question progress itself. Zenner told me he considered the attacks opportunistic. From a public relations standpoint, they were effective. What we were trying to do was highlight the dangers of a consumption-based economic model. Yes, if you question consumption yourself or itself, in and of itself, you are a lunatic. You're a wild-eyed, crazy conspiracy theorist. You're a nutcase. You're a nut job. You're a doomer. You're a blah-bitty-boo-bitty. Your Environment Seattle says, check out Juice. How Electricity Explains the World. That one gets close, but it's not doomer at all. Okay. I'll do it. Hold on one second. Yeah, there's nobody ever questions the knee-jerk, venture into, futurism or technology or the next step. The answer to, there's a problem, we have the answer. The answer is technology. The answer is buy a new thing, make a new thing, have a new thing, engineer your way out of the problem, right? That's always the answer to every single problem. And nobody ever questions that. If you question that, you're a nutcase. You're a wacko. You're a loony. Anyways, let's keep going. The backlash to Planet of the Humans also related to its portrayal of renewables as badly flawed sources of energy that were also environmentally corrosive. Many of those attacks painted the film's presentation of solar and wind to present the documentary as out of date and filled with misinformation. Of course, yes, they did a lot of that. This information is 10 years old. Oddly, the professional activists who coordinated the campaign to bury Planet of the Humans glossed over an entire third of the documentary, which focused on the corruption and co-optation of environmental politics by green foundations and green investors. As this investigation will reveal, those climate justice activists were bound together by support from the same family foundations, billionaire investors, and industry interests that were skewered in the film. Censorship, plain and simple. The ringleader of the push to suppress Planet of the Humans was Josh Fox, the Oscar-nominated director of the film Gasland, which highlighted the destructive practices inherent to hydraulic fracking. Fox launched the campaign with a sign-on letter calling for the documentary to be retracted by its producers. Then, in an incendiary takedown published in The Nation, he branded Michael Moore the new flack for oil and gas, a racist and eco-fascist for producing the film. Yes, that's why you're not helping. If you're one of those people running around calling people racist, eugenicists, eco-fascists, blah, blah, you're not really helping the conversation. You're actually, a nice little tool for those who would push back against any kind of questioning about what's going on, or people who want to have a debate or a discussion about what's going on. As videographer Matt Orfalia, I don't know, reported, Fox's crusade began the night Moore's film was released with an unhinged mass email to online publishers that blasted the documentary as a gigantic crock of shit. Fox commented, "It must come down off your pages immediately." Hours later, Fox fired off another breathless email to a group of public relations professionals. "A number of reputable websites are hosting this abomination. I need your support in getting them to take it down," he wrote. The following day, Fox took to Twitter to assure his ally, 350.org founder Bill McKibben, "We are on it." Next, Fox organized a sign-on letter demanding the film be retracted by its creators and distributors and an apology rendered for its misleading content. Among the letter's signatories was academic and renewables advocate Leah C. Stokes, who proclaimed her wish in an article in Vox that this film will be buried and few will watch it or remember it. Well, I've watched it twice, 2 or 3 times. I'm going to watch it again. And I'm going to urge everybody to watch this film. Like it or not, agree with it or not, I urge you to watch it. Take in the information. You don't have to agree with it, but at least allow the information to be taken in. On April 24th, Josh Fox claimed that he had successfully pressured an online video library, Films for Action, into removing Planet of the Humans from its website. His victory lap turned out to be premature, as Films for Action reposted the film and publicly condemned Fox's campaign to drive it into oblivion. Ha ha ha. Films for Action tweeted, "Planet of the Humans is worthy of a good critique, but we don't support the campaign to have the film removed from YouTube, and we definitely don't support abusing copyright law in a clear case of fair use to accomplish that goal." Right. So, anti-censorship is a worthy and noble cause. You may not agree with somebody's take or somebody's, group or what somebody thinks or et cetera, but if you don't agree with people's right to say or think what the things that they want, to have the freedom of speech that everybody is endowed with or supposed to be endowed with, you are you are not on the right side of history. The relentless push by Fox and others eventually triggered a striking statement by PEN America, the free speech advocacy group. Calls to pull a film because of a disagreement with its content are calls for censorship. Plain and simple, PEN America declared. "Listen, nobody called to censor this movie," Fox insisted to me. "Yeah, lion ass. We asked the filmmakers as part of their community to retract it because it unfairly attacked people that we know are good, honest dealers." And its premise was wrong and false. Again, that's I take issue with this, this good, quote unquote, good people message. Bill McKibben, he's just a great guy and he's a nice guy and he's just really cares. When he's actually, the film actually shows him to be in bed with bad actors, right? Willingly in bed with bad actors. Does that make him a nice, good, honest guy? It's the same with Biden the other night, when people are like, trying to humanize Biden. Biden is a despicable person, a despicable human being, and and doesn't give 2 shits about you. So, all these attempts to humanize, he's just, just really, as a way to make people seem like they're really mean or they're really nasty or they're bad people for trying to critique Biden on the very shitty, horrible things that he's stood for and done. Sorry, keep trying. Biden is an asshole. So is Bill McKibben on many levels an asshole for promoting the things he's promoted. He is not, and his organization is called 350.org. So he's clearly promoting some kind of tech utopianism in order to get back to 350 because we've long blown past 350. We're closer to 450 than we are to 350. But he won't change the name of his organization. Why is that? Is that because he's clearly in denial of where we're at or where the climate situation is? He's not, he's not a good guy. He's not a friend to the climate. He's not a friend of the climate. He's not a friend of the planet. Sorry. So this whole good guy thing, who cares? Keep trying. Fox likened Planet of the Humans to radio host Mike Daisy's monologue on visiting the Foxconn factory in China where iPhones were made, and which was retracted by NPR after major fabrications came to light. It's clear to me that the filmmakers put incorrect information into the film that they knew was incorrect. That thing was out of date, Fox said of the Moore-produced documentary, and many people from within our community reached out to them, which I didn't actually prior to the release of the film, and said, this information is incorrect. What are you doing? Fox was particularly incensed at Michael Moore for attaching his reputation to the film. Really? Well, it's his choice. It's his reputation. Josh Fox. Anyways, he described the famed director as one of the bad guys, a megalomaniacal, multi-millionaire who craves attention unlike anyone I've ever met. Okay. Josh Fox, shut your ass. The 800-pound elephant in the room, the maker of a racist and eco-fascist film. Multimillionaire Circus Barker guilty of journalistic malpractice. No, Josh Fox, it is you. You are a bad actor. You are a bad faith actor. You are a knucklehead that needs to go away. So please shut up, Josh Fox. Please go away. And Josh Fox is actually the one who has been proven to be the megalomaniacal person in the room. He was producing a one-man show in New York, and they fired him because he was such an asshole to the people who he was working with. Did you all know that? Did you know that? Though Fox and his allies did not succeed in erasing Planet of the Humans from the internet, the documentary was momentarily removed from YouTube on the grounds of a copyright claim by a British photographer named Toby Smith. In a tweet he later deleted, Smith said his opposition to the film was personal, blasting it as baseless shite doc built on bullshit and endless copyright infringements. Anyways, guys, this is a long article, and I'm not going to read the rest of it because it would take me many days to read it all. Oh, wait, hold on. Maybe not. Well, it's long, and I don't have time to read the rest. So they go on in the article to actually support the claims made in the documentary. There's plenty of evidence to support the claims made in the documentary. So they were not false and baseless. And the idea that, renewables need fossil fuels in order to be produced is absolutely true, right? You need fossil fuels to produce these renewable energy sources. You need fossil fuels to mine the minerals used for all these renewable sources, the batteries, et cetera, et cetera. This is absolutely true. They're not mining and producing these things with renewable energy itself. That is not happening. So basically the points they brought up in the film are all true. And they're true and they're worthwhile. And Basil Peterson, Josh Fox is the Wasserman Schultz of the greenwashing world. Indeed. Yeah, he's just a liar, and he's in the employ of the billionaires. Yes. Anyways, they go on in this article to, let me see if I can find it, to point out that he has ties to a green billionaire. Hold on. Oh, let me show you this. Renewable energy kingpin Elon Musk practically takes credit for the Bolivian lithium coup just months after planning a meeting with Bolsonaro ahead of a Tesla factory in lithium-rich Brazil. So these guys are not nice guys. They're not good people. Elon Musk supported this coup, this Bolivian coup. Hold on one second. This is a very, 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 very in-depth article. I urge you all to go and read this. And they go through all the points made against the film, and they show that they're all true. The Rockefeller brothers fund incubates350.org. The Rockefeller brothers go green, invest in Halliburton. Yeah, so there's very, very big money behind a lot of these green technologies. Large, they see the future. They see it for what it is, and they're trying to basically, get governments on board with these tech fixes and the green push, the Green New Deals, et cetera, because they are money-making ventures, and all of this requires what? Requires more fossil fuel, which all of these companies are involved in as well, right? So they can make money on both sides of the equation. They'll make money on the fossil fuels needed to create these technologies, and they'll make money on the creation of the technologies and the implementation, et cetera, and the development, et cetera. Anyways, I can't find the part where they tie. Josh Fox is being backed by Green Billionaires, and so there you go. He is not an honest actor. Hold on, I got a couple of super chats here. Spooky Action, thank you for the super chat. Greenwash and sequester this. Go Bears. Kevin Shanholzer, thank you for the super chat. Shanholzer says, for telling truths as you see them. Thank you so much, Kevin Shanholzer. Your Environment Seattle says, thin film solar, great low impact and recyclable, but low efficiency. We don't yet have a magical 40% efficient solar panel, which is also low resource intensity and recyclable. Right. Duncan McCown says, don't confuse me with the facts. I've made up my mind. Right. Well, I've only got a couple minutes left, so we'll read a couple more paragraphs of this, and then we'll leave off till tomorrow. Maybe we'll come back and discuss this a little more tomorrow, because obviously it's worth discussion. It is relevant to the conversation that we engage in almost every single day on this channel. Maybe I'll read a little more of this tomorrow. Who knows? Because this is very, very long, very involved, but also very well done. Hold on one second. The real bully is Michael Moore here, Fox maintained. It's not me. Though Fox and his allies did not succeed in erasing Planet of the Humans from the internet, the documentary was momentarily removed from YouTube on the grounds of a copyright claim by a British photographer named Toby Smith. In a tweet he later deleted, Smith said his opposition to the film was personal, blasting it as a baseless shite doc built on bullshit and endless copyright infringements. As the attacks on Planet of the Humans snowballed, director Jeff Gibbs attempted to defend his film. Following an article at The Guardian branding the film as dangerous. Guess who that was by? Do y'all know who that was by? That was by George Monbiot. Gibbs emailed the paper's opinion editors requesting a right of reply. He told me they never responded. However, just hours after Toby Smith's politically motivated copyright claim prompted YouTube to remove Gibbs' documentary, he said The Guardian reached out to him for comment. How'd they catch that so early, he wondered. A few left-wing journalists tried to push back on the attacks as well, but in almost every case, They were spiked by editors at ostensibly progressive journals, right? Christopher Ketchum, author of This Land, How Cowboys, Capitalism, and Corruption Are Ruining the American West, was among those unable to find a venue in which to defend the documentary. I have come across very few editors radical enough to have the exceedingly difficult conversation about the downscaling, simplification, and the turn in the developed world toward diminished affluence that a 100% renewable energy system will necessarily entail. I'm going to read that again. I have come across very few editors radical enough to have the exceedingly difficult conversation about the 1, downscaling, 2, simplification, and 3, the turn towards diminished affluence. That means less money. Means everybody living with a lot less money. That a 100% renewable energy system will necessarily entail. Ketchum reflected to me. You see, they have to believe that they can keep their carbon-subsidized entitlements, their toys, their leisure travel, the no behavioral change or limits needed, and it will all be green and sustainable. Boom. That's what this is all about. They want to keep industrial civilization going as is. They cannot have any limits. They can't have wealth limits or growth limits. They don't even want to talk about degrowing, right? They can't even talk about sustaining or some kind of plateau to growth. They want to keep the system going and for everybody to be able to keep doing what they're doing. Owning their yachts and their jets and their, 4 or 5 houses, and the money continuing to come in. Naomi Klein, perhaps the most prominent left-wing writer on climate-related issues in the West, did not weigh in to defend Planet of the Humans. Instead, the Intercept columnist, social activist, and Gloria Steinem endowed chair in media culture and feminist studies at Rutgers University was an early participant in the campaign to suppress the film. Really? I didn't even know that. According to McKibben, Naomi Klein had in fact taken Moore aside in an MSNBC green room before the documentary was released to lobby him against publishing the film. Wow. Klein later signed Josh Fox's open letter demanding the film be retracted. Ooh. Weird weird alliances in the green world, in the lefty green world. On Twitter, Klein condemned Planet of the Humans as truly demoralizing and promoted a big blog fact check of the film by Keaton Joshi, a former communications officer for the Australian wind farm company Iphigenia Energy. Oh. Naomi Klein tweeted out, "Thank you for writing this. It is truly demoralizing how much damage this film has done at a moment when many are ready for deep change." How deep, Naomi? How deep? There are important critiques of an environmentalism that refuses to reckon with unlimited consumption plus growth. But this film ain't it. Okay. Well, guys, I have run out of time. I'm going to have to leave it there for the day, but this is a very good read and hopefully a good discussion for y'all. Maybe we'll come back tomorrow and discuss this some more. For a few minutes, there are other things that I want to get into, but I don't know. This is a good deep dive on the subject of green energy, renewable energy, the push for Green New Deals and tech fixes for climate change into the future. So this is a worthy discussion to have, maybe over a couple of days. Hey guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe, and you can support the channel. The links below, PayPal, Patreon, Square. Also, if you'd like to watch the live streams, you can watch the live streams on my Patreon channel. You can subscribe for as little as $1. So hopefully I will see you over there, and thanks so much.